Hi everyone, Darren at ProtoPie here. So this is a first of a set of videos where we're going to be looking into the new volume control feature that's been released in ProtoPie 7.7. So let's just have a look at a quick demo of what we're going to create across all of these videos. I've broken them down into separate videos so you can kind of look at them if you want like specific features as well. So I've got preview open here. So we've got this audio player that I've created previously, and we've just got this volume control here. So some of the things we're going to be able to do. So let's just explore that. So we're going to hit play. Okay, so we're going to be able to turn down the volume and turn it up. You'll notice on the left, we've got radiating lines that disappear and reappear. So we're going to be doing that. And actually, we're also going to be creating some toggle functionality. So you can toggle the audio on and off. Okay, so that's what we're going to be looking at this sequence of videos. Hope you get to catch them all. So without further ado, let's get into the first one. Okay, so I've got my Pi file open here, so my starter Pi file. So as I said, we've got this audio player, and in this previous video, I'd already created the ability to play a music track and to pause a music track. So I'm not going to be going through that in this video. If you are a Patreon customer, like I said, you're going to have access to that anyway. So we're just going to augment it. We're going to build on top of it by building in this new volume control, okay? So I've just kind of grouped the old interactions up in this play pause controller. So that's where all the old ones are. So we're just kind of going to ignore that. In fact, let me just play it just kind of so you see what we've got before we get started. So I'm just going to hit the play button here. Okay, so we can already play pause in this little controller just down at the bottom of the screen. Okay, so we want to, I've now introduced this volume bar. So you can see there's a volume icon and then there's this slider bar. And if I just come over to the Pi file here, I'm just going to drill into that. Let's kind of have a look at the structure. So we've got our control bar group, which is kind of the whole thing. And then within there, we've got this volume group. Okay, so that's the slider bar. And that's just literally a container, a ProtoPie container. And then within it, we've got the fill. So we've got a layer called vol-level. And vol-level is just the fill. So basically the fill that's going to fill up that bar. Okay, what else we got? We got this icon. So this is just a free icon. So from Feather Icons, I use Feather Icons for all of my tutorials. So shout out to the creator of Feather Icons, really cool icons, thank you very much. You should all just go and download those and use those. And so I've brought this icon in. I've just kind of merged a couple of the icons together. So we've got a group called button volume. And if we just open that, we can see we've got a group called volume-lines. And this is just basically got, let me just zoom this up. This is basically these two radiating lines. So I wanted to have control of those separately. So we've got a vol-high, which is the bigger line. And we've got a vol-low, which is the smaller line. And it's going to become apparent why I've done that later in the video. We've also got a vol-mute. So this is the actual vol-mute icon, which is currently turned off. I'm just going to show that. I'm just going to turn the opacity down actually, because unfortunately in ProtoPie you can't control the visibility on and off in your Pi file. You have to kind of do it via opacity. So we're just going to leave that there. We're going to turn that down. And then we just got this vector is just basically the main part of the icon. Okay, so we've got our kind of volume icon there. So those are the two parts we're going to be building our volume control around. Okay, so we're going to come over to our triggers panel and we're going to add a drag trigger, get my teeth in, and we want to drag the fill. So that's called vol-level. So I'm just going to choose that. And within the drag trigger, we're going to add a scale response. So we want to use scaling to change the width of the fill. And again, we want vol-level. So we want the same layer. We want to change the direction to the right pointing arrow. We only want to drag it horizontally and we want to drag it from the right to the left. We're going to start at 100%. And I'm going to actually set a limit So this basically controls how far I can scale that particular layer. Okay, so we're going to set the minimum width to 0, so we don't want to scale it less than 0. We're going to set a minimum height, so that's basically the height of the fill, which is 8 pixels. And then we're going to set a max. So that's actually, so the whole bar is 250 pixels, so we're going to set that to 250. And again, we're going to set a max height to 8 just so we can constrain the height so it doesn't move around. Okay, so if we come over to our preview window here and we just give that a go, we can see that we can indeed scale our fill. So effectively, it looks like we're moving our volume up and down. Okay, so that's the first part of the video. In the next part of the video, we're going to be creating the actual volume level. So see you there. Okay, so in the next part of this video, we're going to create the volume level. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a numeric variable just down here in the variables panel. So we're just going to use a for this scene variable and we're going to call it volume level. Okay, so we're going to come over to the triggers panel. I'm going to add a detect trigger and we're going to target the vol level layer. So VOL -level. And we want its width property. So we're going to choose width underneath. Okay, so we're going to detect when the vol level layer width changes. And when it changes, we're going to assign its value to that variable that we created. Okay, so we're going to add an assign response inside of our detect. And we're going to target that variable, so the volume level variable. And we're going to open up the formula window and we're going to create a formula in here. Okay, so we just need to convert the physical width of the bar into a percentage value. Okay, so some rudimentary maths here. So I'll go really slowly so you can kind of get it. So the first thing we will need is the width of the vol level. So that's basically the fill. So we want to get the width of that and we want to compare it to the overall width of the audio bar. And we're going to get that from the volume container. So we're going to use these two width values and then we're just going to do a little bit of percentage maths. Okay, so we're going to hit the plus button. So we're going to get the, the first bit, vol level. So let's find that. Vol level. And we want its width property. So type a dot and then look for width. Okay, and we're going to divide that. So it's / for divide. And we were going to divide that by the overall container. Okay, so we're going to find that. So that's called volume with a capital V in my particular file. Volume, and we want its width property. Okay, so we're dividing one by the other. Now we need to wrap all of these in brackets. So we need this calculation to be worked out first. So it's going to wrap that into some brackets. Okay, so the outcome of that calculation, we want to multiply by 100. So multiply is the asterisk. So multiply by 100. And we actually want to, when we get the value of this, we're going to get fractions. And we don't really want fractions. We want it to be a nice whole number. So we're actually going to use a function that's going to wrap the whole of this. Is going to live inside this function. And the function we're going to use is round. Okay, so we're going to come to the beginning of our formula. We're going to start typing round. So you can see there's a round function there. And we actually, it's always a bit funky. We actually want to put the bracket back around there, and we actually need to take this round bracket and we need this kind of right hand round bracket, and we need to put that right at the end, so after the 100. Okay, so I'll just leave this up on screen for a minute so you can see. So, and we'll just talk through it. So we're taking the vol-level width, we're dividing it by the volume width, so that's the outside container. We're wrapping that in brackets to work out that result. We're then multiplying that by 100. And we're wrapping that into the round function so we can get a whole number. Okay, so we're going to click OK on that, and that's going to assign the value to our volume level variable. Okay, so Next up, we actually want to create the part of the prototype where we're actually changing the volume level when the slider's dragged, okay? So to do that, we're going to add another detect trigger. And we're going to target the volume level variable. And within this, we're going to add a volume response. So basically, this is the new response that you're getting with ProtoPie 7.7. Okay, we're going to target the volume response, and we're going to target our audio file. And then inside you can see we've got volume 2. So you can choose volume 2 or volume by, but we're going to leave it at volume 2. And you've also got a slide if you want to add a fixed value. Obviously, we want to make that dynamic. So we're actually going to come over into the value field to the right here. And when we tap it, you'll see we've got a formula button. So we've got a formula value field here. We're going to tap into that. And we're just going to choose we're going to remove 0. And we're going to hit the plus button. We're going to choose our volume level variable. Volume level variable. Volume level, here we go. The one with the little X next to it in the box. So basically we're taking the value of the variable and we're putting it inside of that response, which is controlling the audio from the audio file. Okay, makes sense? Cool. So click OK if you haven't clicked OK, just so we've got that in there. And we're going to give this a test, see if this is working. So I'm going to bring preview up. I'm going to start to play my music, and then hopefully I should be able to drag the slider up and down. It should control the audio. So let's give it a go. There you go. So now I'm turning it down. Do some mixing. Okay, so that's all working. That's looking good. Okay, so that's how the new volume control works. So that's the first part of the video, but I want to add a few more features to this. So what I want to be able to do, I want to be able to mute and unmute the audio as well. So I want to be able to do that by clicking the icon to the left-hand side. And I actually want to change the audio lines as well when we move the slider up and down at certain points. So I just want to add some extra functionality there as well. So let's get into that in the next part of the video.